Oh, there you are. Okay. And you're all still here. Now I can make it in time for the deck tech, which is at the office. Where is the office? Okay, yeah. Mic's working. Great. Welcome everyone to another LRRMTG deck tech with me, Ben Omer, who is definitely lost in the forests of British Columbia. Hopefully this works. It's time for the greatest smash up the multiverse has ever seen. Legendary creatures teaming up together to defeat the evil Phyrexian threat. And while there's tons of team-ups to choose from, I could not say no to our lovable little homunculus Borb-thp teaming up with the leader of the Gruul clan, Borb-thp. So gather up here by the fire as we get a little lost in the woods with a deck I'm calling the Borb-thp Project. Borb-thp and Borb-thp are a 6/5 Cyclops homunculus for 2 green, blue, red that read, whenever they enter the battlefield or attack, draw a card. Then you may discard any number of land cards. When you discard 1 or more cards this way, Borb-thp and Borb-thp deal twice that much damage to target creature. And for 1 and a blue, you can put them into their owner's library, 3rd from the top. So you've got a combo of creatures that benefit greatly from having an abundance of land in your deck. I can't think of any card that fits the theme of this better than Lost in the Woods. Lost in the Woods is a goofy 5-mana enchantment that reads, whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a forest card, remove that creature from combat. Then put the revealed card on the bottom of your library. But Ben, just how many forests is this deck running? That's a very good question, me, although not a good sign that I'm already talking to myself. There are 70 forests between non-basics and basics in this deck, so it's very rare that you'll ever whiff. What was that? Because we're running all these lands, we have a bunch of creatures that are actually able to play lands from the top of your deck straight onto the battlefield. So when your commander arrives, you'll have a grip full that you can throw. Courser of Kruphix, Oracle of Moldiah, and Thrasios all allow you to play with that top card of your deck. And with Courser, it even gains you life each time a land enters the battlefield. And speaking of lands entering the battlefield, you're going to be doing a lot of that. So cards like Horn of Greed, which net you a draw every time you play a land, will be very helpful. Okay, sorry, I gotta get a little bit closer. It is super dark out. Not gonna lie, a little scary. But what is really scary is Cultivator Colossus in our deck. Cultivator Colossus is a creature with trample whose power and toughness are equal to the amount of lands we control. But more importantly, when it enters the battlefield, allows us to put a land from our hand into play tapped, then draw a card and repeat the process. Because our deck is basically all lands, this lets us throw most, if not all of our library directly onto the battlefield. But we can use the combo that Abundance brings to replace the draw effect with its effect, allowing us to choose between either land or non-land to draw each time. If we choose land, our entire mana base is going to be on that battlefield faster than you could say Scapeshift. Multani, Yavimaya Avatar, is another card that grows with each land we have on the battlefield, but also looks in our graveyard for when we pitch lands to our commander's effect. And the new Titania, when melded with Argoth, is another big powerhouse that also returns all the lands from our graveyard into play. And don't think I forgot about old Big Borb there. I decided to give myself a deck building challenge where I put no non-permanents inside of the deck. Okay, except for one, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna be super into it because... What are those? What was that? So Borb-thp, his whole thing was he would throw lands at people, so they're gonna go into their bin, and we need ways to scoop them out. So here are some ways that we're doing that. Crucible of Worlds, World Shaper, and the Mending of Dominaria all allow us to take lands we pitch or mill to various effects and bring them back for good use. We also have one of my favorite cards, Slowgurk, the Overslime, who grows larger whenever lands go into the graveyard, and can bounce itself back to your hand by removing 3 +1/+1 counters from itself. And when it does that, it also returns 3 lands from your graveyard whenever it leaves. Whoa. Okay, this is creepy. It's like a big murder shack. Which, actually, speaking of, if you're wondering how we're going to murder our opponents, besides with the giant Multanis and Titanias, it's with our lands. Liege of the Tangle is a giant 8/8 trampler who turns our lands into 8/8s when it deals combat damage to an opponent. And Tatyova, Steward of Tides, allows us to start turning our lands into 3/3 flyers with haste. Considering we're running like 70 lands, I'm not sure many opponents are going to be living through that. And to help us get there, we have strong tutors like Imperial Recruiter, who can grab Cultivator Colossus, or Defense of the Heart, which allows us to put any 2 creatures into our deck straight onto the battlefield if an opponent gets a little too frisky with the 1/1 Goblin tokens. And that one non-permanent I told you about? Well, I'm sure a few of you probably guessed, it's Primal Surge. It's a 10-mana sorcery that exiles the top card of your library, and if it's a permanent card, put it onto the battlefield. Then repeat the process. So play your entire deck with Concordant Crossroads coming down to give all your stuff haste and slam. Okay, so overall, Borb-thp and Borb-thp seem like a good duo that's brimming with a whole lot of fun. And, you know, while this might not be the most high power level deck ever, I couldn't not just like go all in on flavor for a set that's brimming with so many cool characters and lore. I personally can't wait to sleeve up this deck and throw... Hello? Graham, what are you doing here?
Sometimes I come here to think. And also, where were you today? We were supposed to film the deck tech. And another thing, how did you get into my house?